I said, very excited to be here with you guys today. So I've got some good news and some bad news. And first of all, let's start with the bad news. Okay, so Chris Wilson, our instructor for tonight, is not going to be here. I know, guys, I can feel it on your end, like, holy cow, right? What a huge letdown. So here's the thing. Chris, his wife had a birthday party planned for him for tonight, a surprise birthday party. Emphasize the word surprise. So he didn't know anything about it. So he had planned on doing our master class tonight. Well, yesterday, his son happened to see his schedule and saw that he was doing a master class with us tonight. And he's like, Dad, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but Mom's got a surprise birthday party for you planned tomorrow. And so, again, he didn't even know about it. And so talked with his wife, and so he had to cancel at the last minute. He couldn't get out of it. It was obviously a big deal. And they couldn't change their plans. And so yeah, guys, unfortunately, I deeply, deeply apologize. Chris is not going to be here with us this evening. However, okay, there's two bits of good news I have for you. Rather than canceling the master class, we improvised and we adapted. And we're going to talk more about that here in a second. But the other piece of good news is Mr. Chris Wilson is actually going to be with us next Wednesday. So he promised, he gave just about everything but a blood oath that he was going to be with us next Wednesday. So Wednesday, the 26th, 7:00 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you're on Pacific, it'll be 6 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock Central, and 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Next Wednesday, he committed 100% that do or die, hell or high water, he's going to be with us. So please mark that down. Again, apologize, guys. He couldn't be here. It's out of our control. He didn't know about it, so it's not his fault. It just unfortunately just worked out that way. But we're here, and we want to provide for you guys. We want to provide value. But here's the thing. I thought this would be a great opportunity to turn this into a lesson, because as entrepreneurs, as you're working towards achieving your goals and your dreams and creating the life that you desire, it's inevitable that there's going to be situations or circumstances that are going to come up that are out of your control, right? Whether it's the economy or just different people that maybe are there to help you out, but maybe something happens in their situation, whatever. I think we can all agree, you've been around long enough that you know that no matter what, there's times when things go absolutely fantastic, but there's other times where things kind of get in the way, obstacles or roadblocks or challenges come up. Here's one of the biggest differences that separates successful people from everybody else. Successful people, okay, well, first of all, most people, when that happens, they get discouraged, they get frustrated, they get upset, and a lot of times they give up. They don't look for solutions. They don't try to find answers. They don't keep pressing forward. They just give up and they retreat. They go back to their job. They go back to what they're doing before. Life doesn't change. Year after year, their life doesn't change because they give up so easily. As entrepreneurs, as successful people, one of the qualities you're going to have to develop over time, if you want to succeed, you have to be absolutely adaptable. It's one of the keys of every successful, every wealthy individual. This is a common denominator. People are truly successful, truly wealthy. They are adaptable. Okay. When circumstances or situations arise or different things happen, rather than giving up, they adapt, they innovate, right? They find solutions. They don't just give up because they know that every advantage or every disadvantage has an equal or greater advantage, like Napoleon Hill always taught, right? And so that's lesson number one. Make sure that you're adaptable. adaptable in the economy, adaptable in circumstances, situations, in every area of your life. You have to learn to be adaptable. You can't be too rigid. You know, if you look at trees and trees that are rigid, okay, the winds come through, and what happens to those trees is usually they end up breaking. The trees that last are the ones that are flexible. They adapt to the weather, they adapt to the conditions. You have to be adaptable. Number two, resourceful. Okay, when you don't have resources, you become resourceful. Tonight, okay, we had everything but one piece of the puzzle. Okay, our instructor, Mr. Chris Wilson. So that was one resource that we didn't have at our disposal. Rather than giving up and saying, well, hey, we can't do this, we became resourceful. And that's one of the other common qualities of all successful people. When they don't have resources, they become resourceful. So guys, let's remember those two things. If you want to succeed, create the life you desire, and be an entrepreneur, you have to be adaptable and you have to be resourceful. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're innovating, we're adapting, we're becoming resourceful, and we're providing value to you guys, even though we don't have our intended instructor here. So once again, make sure you make plans to be here next Wednesday. I know it's not ideal, but we're making it work. Next Wednesday from 7 to 8 o'clock, and that's Mountain Time. We will be here. Same link, okay? Same bat channel, same bat time, right? Anyway, so tonight, guys, I have some really good stuff I want to share with you, though. Really, really good stuff. And I think that you guys are going to get tremendous value out of this, and you're going to absolutely love what we're going to talk about here tonight. Now, anytime I attend an event, whether it's in person or online, it doesn't matter, or read a book or anything where I'm learning and growing and developing and becoming a better version of me, I always go into it with the idea that if I can learn at least one thing, now, obviously, if I can learn more, that's great. But if I can learn at least one thing, then it was worth my time. And it doesn't matter if it's 2 hours or 2 days. If I get at least one bit of information that I didn't know before, one idea, one new concept, that alone could be worth a fortune. That could change my life. So tonight, that's what I want you guys to go into this with. You may get 10 things, you may get 20 things, but if you get at least one idea from tonight, one idea can change your life. One idea can make you a fortune. So guys, we want to make the most of this. You're here, I'm here, and I want to make sure you guys get the most out of this here today. So with that being said, let's move on. So guys, make sure you pay close attention to go through this information. And if you're watching this on a phone, I highly recommend getting on a computer. Now you can watch this from a phone, but again, it's not always as reliable. So I recommend watching this from a computer if you want to have the best experience. Again, and make sure your speakers are turned up so you can hear me loud and clear. Turn off all distractions, right? Turn off your phone, okay? Do not disturb, close out social media, turn off the video games, turn off the TV. I promise you're going to want to give this your complete and undivided attention, all right? And make sure you're taking notes throughout this. Write down any questions you have. And guys, have fun and participate. I'm going to ask you guys some questions as we go through this information. So make sure you guys participate, because you can get so much more out of this if you participate. If you sit there just like a bump on a log, I guarantee you're not going to get near as much out of this. So raise your hand, use the chat, interject, just like if we're in the same room, and participate. All right, I'm just looking at you guys' chats. This cracks me up. So anyhow, all right, guys. So first of all, just a quick disclaimer. Our company, Renatus, does not guarantee any level of money, success, or lifestyle from using the Renatus education. All testimonials are unique to that specific customer. Your results will be different, will vary, depend on several factors, including starting point, effort, and resources. So guys, as you already know, we can't make guarantees about anything. I'm gonna go through some numbers and some figures here tonight, but that's not making guarantees. The only person that can guarantee your results or anything is you. All right, so keep in mind, these are just examples that are going to give you an idea of the principles that we're teaching, and then you can apply that to your own life, and you're the one that has to make those guarantees, not us. Okay. All right. So here's some things we're going to talk about here tonight. And I'm going to try to keep this to 45 minutes to an hour. So we're going to go through this fairly quickly because I want to be respectful of your time. And again, we're all busy. Number one, okay, we're going to talk about making more money. We're going to keep this very simple here tonight. And some of the stuff you guys may already know, and that's great. You're looking for that one idea, right? But we're going to talk about the one thing that you start doing right now that has created more wealthy and successful people than anything else in the world. That's part number one. Number two is we're going to talk about keeping more money. Listen, making more money is great, but if you don't know how to keep more of your money, you're just going to be broke at a higher level. And there's a lot of people out there that make really good money, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck because they haven't learned, they don't have the financial knowledge on how to keep more of their money. So that's number two. We're going to show you how you can use your current income to pay off your debts faster than ever and create financial freedom without any additional income. Okay, so we're going to show you how to do this on your current income. Now, earning more money, making more money, obviously is something that everybody should be learning how to do. But number two, we're going to show you how you can do this on your current income. It's pretty dang cool. Number three, okay, we're going to show you how to grow your money. No, now we're not talking about growing marijuana plants and, medicinal marijuana or anything like that, right? We're talking about using your money to build your wealth faster. Guys, this is not get rich quick, but it is get rich quicker. And you guys are obviously here because you want to get rich quicker, right? So again, we're going to talk about how to use your money to build your wealth faster. Okay, the reason why most people never able to retire, and we're going to show you how you can 10x your wealth and monthly cash flow without using any of your own money. All right, so 3 keys here: make more money, keep more money, and grow more money. All right, that's really, if you really break down financial wealth, the keys to financial wealth, everything around building financial wealth comes down to those 3 factors right there: making more money, keeping more money, and then growing your money, using your money to work for you. I love what Robert Kiyosaki said. He said, wealthy or poor and middle class people, okay, work for money. Wealthy people have money work for them, right? The poor and middle class work for money. Okay, rich people have money work for them. So again, these are 3 things we're going to be talking about. So let's get into part number 1 here: making more money. All right. So what's the one thing that you can start doing right now that's created more wealthy and successful people than anything else in the world? Let's talk about business ownership. Now, what's going to allow you the time freedom and financial freedom more than anything else and create the life that you desire? There's a huge difference between being an employee and a business owner, right? Now, when it comes to building wealth as an employee, you guys have heard that old saying a million times: you're never going to get rich working for somebody else. When you work for somebody else, okay, who's getting rich? They are. You're building their dream. Okay. So I think we all know, and we can all agree, that being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is obviously going to allow you to achieve your goals and dreams much faster and easier than you ever could working for somebody else. In fact, if you look at the wealthy people in the world, okay, the 1% wealthy, okay, how 76% of them have done it is through business ownership and real estate, not working for somebody else. Okay, what are the benefits of business ownership? Okay, obviously, income. You can earn as much money as you want. You don't have somebody telling you how much your time is worth. Right? That's one of the reasons why when I was in college, I dropped out of college, because I never, ever wanted to work for somebody else ever again. I wasn't going to go to school and get a degree just so I could turn around and get a job and be a slave to somebody else. I didn't want somebody else telling me how much my time was worth, because I've always valued my time and valued me more than anybody else. And that's exactly the way you guys should look at it. You are worth way more than anybody can possibly ever pay you. Your time is worth more than anybody could possibly ever pay you. Okay. As a business owner, obviously you save a ton of money in taxes. You get tax write-offs and deductions that you never can get as an employee. So you can make more money, but you can also save more money in taxes and actually pay less in taxes. Employees typically pay a higher percentage of income in taxes because they don't get deductions that business owners get. Security, more financial security. One of the myths out there, a lot of people have this false belief that working for somebody else is security. Guys, that is a false belief. Listen, at the end of the day, okay, who cares more about you and your family and whether or not you can put food on the table. Nobody. Okay. Your boss does not care as much about you and your family as you do. Okay. Your manager, your employer, they don't care as much about you and your family as you do. They may be wonderful people. They may be very generous, very spiritual people, but at the end of the day, nobody is going to care more about you and your family, whether or not you can provide and put food on the table for your family than you do. And so think about it. Would you rather rely on somebody else for your income, for your security? Because you guys have seen this over and over again, where somebody thinks they have a great job, a secure job. They show up to work one day and the company got bought out or things have changed. And all of a sudden they're out of work, completely blindsided. See, at the end of the day, the only person that you can count on is you. And so you are your greatest security. There's no better security than being your own boss because it's you. You're not relying on anybody else. Control, again, another big thing. It's one of the reasons why I never want to work for somebody else. I didn't want somebody else tell me, whether or not I had a job or controlling my time. Tell me when I had to go to work or whether or not I could go on vacation. As a business owner, you have complete control. You also have an asset you're creating, an asset that you can sell, okay? That you can build value, build equity, okay? My son was doing summer cells for a couple of years and for a pest control company. This pest control company started in 2012. And he just told me, I think it was just yesterday, that they just got bought out. They just sold their company for $330 million. A pest control company, $330 million. And they started 10 years ago. Guys, that's what I'm talking about. You can build an asset that has value. You can sell it, okay? Or you can leave a legacy for your family. You can pass it on to your children, grandchildren. And most importantly, being a business owner allows you to live the life that you want, that you desire, to have the time freedom, financial freedom. You don't punch a clock. You're in control. You determine how much money you make and you determine how much you work. So now here's the next question. All right. So obviously, I think most everybody on here, ideally, if you had the choice of working for somebody else and punching a clock or being your own boss, every person I talk to, ideally, even if they love their job, ideally would much rather be their own boss, work from home, set their own schedule, and do something that they love and they're passionate about and be able to make the kind of money they want to make. So the question is what is the best business? Well, I can't answer that for you because everybody's a little bit different, but I can tell you, okay, from statistics and just from a pure historical standpoint, we believe that the best business and investment in the world is real estate. So let's talk about real estate a little bit here. And guys, we're going to get into some really cool stuff about this. So you're going to love what I'm going to share with you. So some of the stuff in the beginning is a little bit basic. So just kind of bear with me because some of the stuff, again, you already know, and that's perfectly fine. We're going to get some really cool stuff here that I think is going to blow your mind, or at least for a lot of you. So why is real estate the best business and investment in the world? Okay. Number one, massive income. Okay. There are some strategies where you can go out there and generate large sums of money in a short amount of time, like fix and flips, right? You see those shows on TV all the time. And I'm sure you guys have thought to yourself, man, if they could do that in an hour, I could do that in 30 minutes, right? So, but you can generate large sums of money in a short amount of time. But there's also some strategies where you can build passive income. And guys, that's really the goal. Your goal should be passive income. All right, massive income is fantastic, but you want to use your massive income to build your passive income even faster. The more massive income you have today, the faster you can build your passive income for tomorrow. Now, you guys already know passive income is also residual income. It's income that shows up even when you're not working. Okay, you make money, or you make money while you're sleeping. You make money when you take a day off. You go on vacation for a month. You're still making money. That's passive income. Now, massive income is fantastic, but the challenge with massive income, in most situations, it's also earned income. In other words, if you work, you make money, but if you don't work, you don't make money. You're on a constant treadmill. So that's why passive income is so attractive. But the challenge with passive income is it takes some time to build up, because passive income, usually is smaller income. So it takes a while to build up to where you can actually live off of it. So the ultimate goal is for your passive income to become your massive income, right? I mean, how many of you have thought about having $10,000 a month in passive income, or $20,000 a month, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. Some of you, I'm sure, have even thought about making $100,000 a month in passive income, even more. I've talked to individuals, we got individuals on our team, they have goals of $1 million a month in passive income. Now, is that possible? Absolutely not. Am I making guarantees? I'm not. We're just talking about some examples, right? But is it possible if you know what you're doing? Absolutely. Are there people out there doing it right now? Absolutely. So don't be one of those individuals that thinks it sounds too good to be true. $1 million a month is not too good to be true. There are people doing it. Okay. If you know what you're doing, if they can do it, you can do it too. Anybody can succeed. But that's the goal, is for your passive income to become your massive income. Rents increase over time. It's one of the fantastic things about real estate. Rents always increase over time. We're going to talk about this a little bit here in the next few minutes. But again, if you own rental properties, your income is always going up and up and up. Appreciation. Again, we all know this, right? Real estate always appreciates. Yes, real estate values do fluctuate. They do go up and down, but no matter what state you live in, okay, even though California or Florida, places where real estate values really fluctuate, right? They can go high highs and low lows, but real estate always goes up in value, always appreciates, even in California, some of these other places. Why is that? It's all about supply and demand, right? Our population is always going up, which means there's more people that need a place to live. Okay. Real estate provides one of the three basic needs: shelter. There's always more people that need a place to live, whether they're buying or renting. Well, that demand drives up prices, which creates appreciation. So again, if you own real estate always appreciates. I can tell you guys, I talked to somebody earlier today that had a rental property and they sold it. And right after she told me this, she said she's always regretted selling that rental property. Guys, I can tell you, I've never talked to a team member or an investor that regretted not doing fix and flips. Now, I'm not putting down fix and flips. Fix and flips are a fantastic strategy. Okay. And you can make a lot of money doing fix and flips. But I've never talked to somebody that's never done fix and flips that said, I regret not doing fix and flips. But I can tell you this: I have talked to a ton of people over the years that owned rental properties, that sold them and regretted not keeping them, or individuals who didn't own rental properties and wished that they would have bought rental properties and had cash flow coming in. So I can tell you, the point is building passive income, owning rental properties, whether it's single family or duplex, triplex, fiveplex, 25plex, multifamily, commercial, whatever. Okay. Owning rental properties is something that you will never regret. At least nobody I've ever talked to. Yes, you have to deal with tenants and stuff, but if you have management companies, if you're doing it right, you're not going to manage your own properties. You're going to have management companies do that for you. So you're not dealing with the headache and stuff. And trust me, a good management company is worth the money. It's worth the money. So you have to deal with all the headache and the stress and collecting checks and all that other stuff. But just a kind of a tip for you guys. If you own rental properties, okay, man, don't sell them. I mean, the only time you should sell them if it's like a very last resort, like you have to sell it for some reason. But man, I've never talked to anybody that regretted keeping the rental properties, but a lot of people regret selling them. Okay, so again, this ties into appreciation, because if you have rental properties, your properties are going to go up in value over time. Tax deductions. Out of all the businesses, real estate offers the most tax deductions out of any business, over 400 deductions. If you got into real estate just to save money on taxes, that alone would be worth it. And guys, listen, taxes, as we all know, have gone up over time. And it's more likely to keep going up than it is to go down, especially with our current administration. So the fact is, it's more important now than ever that you get educated on how to save money on taxes. Leverage. Okay, leverage is basically where you can take a little bit of money and you acquire an asset that's worth more. And out of any investment, real estate is the best for this. In fact, most investments, you can't do this, right? If you want to buy $100,000 in stocks, you can't go to the bank and tell your banker, say, hey, I've got great credit. Here's $20,000. I want to put 20% down. I want you to finance 80% of that. And I want to buy some stocks. Is the banker going to give you $80,000 to go buy some stocks? he's going to laugh at you. No way they're going to do that. Why won't they do it? Because it's too risky. Are they going to do it with crypto? Not a chance. But if you have good enough credit, if you want to buy a property for $100,000, even though that's a really cheap example, but let's just say $100,000 and you had $20,000 of down payment, you have good enough credit. Will the bank do that? All day long. So again, leverage. Okay, you don't have to have $100,000 to buy a property. Small down payment, good credit, and you can buy it. And if you really know what you're doing, one of the biggest things we teach is how to go out there and acquire properties without using your own money or credit, right? That's where it gets really exciting. The leverage. And again, when you start talking appreciation, leverage comes in again. Because if you bought a home and you put a down payment down and you're talking appreciation, well, is the appreciation on the down payment or on the whole value of the home? It's on the whole value. So guys, real estate is the best example of leverage. Financial security. I love this one because if you know what you're doing in real estate, can you make money in any market up or down? What do you guys think? Okay, give me an answer in the chat. What do you guys think? If you know what you're doing, if you have knowledge, can you make money and build wealth in any market up or down? What do you guys think? Give me some feedback, guys. 100%, 1000%, right? Absolutely. Guys, if you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. You can make money and build wealth in any market up or down. If you know what you're doing, there's no such thing as a bad market. Write that down and remember that. If you know what you're doing, there's no such thing as a bad market. There's no such thing as a bad economy. Yes, the economy goes up and down, but you can make money and build wealth. As a matter of fact, you guys already know that there's more millionaires and billionaires created during down economies than up economies because there's more opportunity. There's more problems to solve. There's more people to help. There's more value that you can provide. Everything goes on sale, right? You buy low and sell high, right? So knowledge is the key though. You have to know what you're doing. So again, another great thing about real estate, financial security. You don't have to worry about the economy. You can make money no matter what the economy is doing, and you have that financial security as long as you have the knowledge. And then an asset. I love this, especially in this digital world that we live in. Okay. Now it's not that I'm against stocks or crypto or NFTs or anything like that. But the thing is I think more than ever, having hard assets like real estate, gold and silver is more important than it ever has been. And so it's a hard asset. And you can also insure it against loss. In other words, if you own property and it gets damaged for whatever reason, whether it's tenants or just whatever, or weather or tornado, you can insure it against loss. Something you cannot do with stocks or crypto. So again, just a few reasons. There's many, many more, but just a few reasons why we believe real estate is the best business and investment. Now, out of any business or an investment, real estate has created more wealthy people out there than anything else. More wealthy people invest their money into real estate than anything else because it creates time freedom and financial freedom. So, guys, just a few tips here. Number one, secrets to making more money. As an employee, you're building somebody else's dream. As a business owner, you're building your own dream, right? Number two, real estate is the best business investment in the world. No other business or investment offers all of the benefits and advantages. Everything we just got done talking about, there's no business or an investment that gives you all those advantages. Now, obviously, some businesses or investments will give you some of those, maybe one or two, but not all of them. Like business, for example. Most businesses, you can't generate both massive income and passive income. It's one or the other. Real estate's one of the few businesses where you can actually generate both types of income. So you can start to see why most wealthy people either build their wealth or hold their wealth in real estate. And number three, okay, to create time and financial freedom, you need a business that makes you money even when you're not working. Guys, that's, again, remember, okay, the poor and middle class work for money. Okay, wealthy people have money work for them. That's the key. That's where you want to get to. You want to be able to go on vacation for a week or a month or whatever, travel the world, and you're still making money day and night. Does not matter because you don't have to be directly involved to make money. That's the goal. All right, number two. Now let's get into the really exciting stuff. Like I said, some of the stuff we talked about right up to this point, it's kind of basic, and I'm sure some of the stuff you already know or knew. But now we're going to get into some really, really cool stuff. This is where I get really excited because this is where people's minds start to get blown. Let's talk about keeping more money. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to participate quite a bit. So guys, again, make sure you participate, right? So how can you use your current income to pay off your debts, okay, faster than ever and create financial freedom without any additional income? Okay, this is secret number 2. This is what we're going to talk about next. I love what Shaquille O'Neal said. I have a ton of respect for this guy. In fact, I had the opportunity. I was in Florida in 2019. My wife and I were down there for a Tony Robbins workshop, and we went to this gator farm. We spent a few extra days in Orlando, enjoying just some of the sites and so forth. We went to this gator farm, and man, I saw this huge guy way off in the distance, and all these people were gathered around him. And as it got closer, my wife didn't recognize him, but I did as it got closer. And I just stood there. I was like in just shock. I'm like, what are the odds? And it was Shaquille O'Neal. And man, he's a giant of a man, just amazing. And so many people around him. And he was just being swarmed. But anyway, so I saw the direction he's going. And I was like, man, we've got to go get another look at this guy. I just want to, see him again. And I want to get a picture with him. And so we went around the other direction because I kind of saw where he's going, and we made a loop. And sure enough, we happened to catch him coming their direction. And, when it comes to famous people or people like this, there's that party. He's like, man, do I dare ask? Because they're always getting asked. And I went up to him and I'm like, hey man, huge fan. Would you be okay if we just took a quick picture? Man, we'd love to get a picture with you. And I'm telling you, if you ever get to know this guy, one of the nicest, most respectful, just amazing guys. And he was just more than happy to oblige, even though all these people around him, and he's trying to enjoy this gator farm. He's like, sure, come on in here. And dude, I'm telling you, I'm 5'11". My wife's, I don't know, 5'6", 5'7", but he had his arms around both of us, and I took a selfie, and man, he made me feel like a dwarf. He's just this huge guy, but seriously, just a cool guy. Love him. Anyway, but if you know his story, when he first got in the NBA, when he first got paid, man, he started buying cars. He started buying all this stuff. And he had his banker called him up and said, hey, I need to meet with you right away. And his banker brought him in. And he said, listen, he said, I noticed that you've been buying a lot of things. You've been spending a lot of money. And he says, I want to help you from making the same mistake that so many other basketball players make. He said, the majority of professional athletes within a few years are broke because they don't have the financial knowledge on how to keep more of their money. All of a sudden they get all this money. They're not used to having that much money. And we all have this financial thermostat. Tony Robbins talks about this, right? It's like a thermostat in your home. What happens is, in your home, if it gets too hot, what happens is the air conditioner, thermostat recognizes that, tells the air conditioner to kick on to cool it back down. When it starts to get too cold, thermostat says, hey, we need more heat. So it tells the furnace to kick on to heat it back up. Well, this is the same thing that happens with money. If you haven't raised your financial thermostat, here's what will happen is you'll start to make more money. But if you don't have the financial knowledge, if you don't have a wealth mindset and you haven't raised your financial thermostat, then what's going to happen is your financial thermostat is going to kick in and say, hey, we're making too much money. We need to cool this off. It's getting too hot. So what happens is your mind goes to work to help you get rid of that money, whether it's things that show up in your life unexpected, because again, your mind, 80% of your success or failure is your mindset. And guys, if you don't believe in the law of attraction, it's actually true. And so what happens, things will show up that will be unexpected, negative things that's going to help you basically spend that money or get rid of the money or extra expenses, or you're going to go out and just splurge and do all these crazy things and so forth because you have all this money and you don't have the financial knowledge on how to be smart with it. And what happens, all these things, or people's going to come into your life, all these family and friends, they know you're making more money and they're going to start asking for handouts. But basically the point is, is you're going to have all sorts of things that are going to show up that are going to cool down so that you can get rid of that money. You can shed that money because you're not used to that much money because you haven't raised your financial thermostat. You don't have a wealth mindset. So you get rid of that money or you lose that money and you get right back down to your normal setting where you're comfortable inside your comfort zone. This is exactly what happens. I'm telling you guys, if you've made more money and you don't have that money, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then also the opposite is true. Okay, what happens is we're used to this and things get so cold, like we're not making money and, we can't pay for things. We can't do things we need to do. Can't pay the bills. In other words, our financial thermostat gets cooled down. Well, it kicks in and says, hey, we got to heat this thing up. And then what happens, your mind goes to work to look for opportunities, to find ways or be resourceful to help you make more money. So you're constantly bouncing in kind of like a yo-yo effect between, hot and cold, hot and cold. So what happens, you need to raise your financial thermostat. Well, Shaquille O'Neal, his banker said, listen, most professional athletes go broke. They go bankrupt because they don't have a wealth mindset. They have a financial thermostat. He says, I want to help you so that doesn't happen. So he helped him pump the brakes and started to advise him and consult him. And because of that, now he's worth somewhere between $400 and $500 million. But he would be flat broke if it weren't for that banker that basically pulled him in and said, hey, listen, you got to learn how to keep your money. Stop spending your money. Otherwise, you're going to be broke. So guys, what you have to understand is when it comes to wealth, when it comes to life, there's rules and then there's strategies. There's rules and strategies, and they're completely different. Just because you know the rules doesn't mean that you're going to win. You may know the rules when it comes to, taxes, or you may know the rules when it comes to business, or you may know the rules to life, but just because you know the rules, that doesn't mean you're going to win. Think of it in terms of chess. You may know the rules inside and out, but that doesn't mean that you win, because in order to win, you have to know the strategies. So same thing with wealth. Just because you know the rules of money, there's strategies. And if you want to become wealthy, if you want to be successful, if you want to create the life you desire, it's not enough to know the rules. You have to learn the strategies. That's where the knowledge comes in. Know the strategy so you can actually win the game. See, this is where most people are at. They don't realize this, but this is where most people are. What happens is most people get their income, and about a third of their income goes towards taxes. Now, you may be sitting there saying, well, I don't pay that much in taxes. Most of you do. It's just most people don't monitor it. They don't track it. They don't pay attention to it. So they don't realize it. They just don't pay attention, right? By the time you figure income tax, property tax, sales tax, all these different taxes we pay, and many times you're taxed more than once. You don't realize it. Thanks to our wonderful government. Listen, I love our country, but I'm not a big fan of our government. And those are two completely different things. So anyway, most people, actually about a third of their income goes towards taxes. And then another third goes towards debt and interest. Because again, people have a lot of interest, a lot of debt, and so forth. So when it's all said and done, the average American is only living on about a third of their income. They don't realize it because they don't pay attention. That's what's going. But it makes sense, because the thing is, when most people out there talk about how they can never make ends meet, they can never get ahead. This is why right here. What if we were able to change that? What if we could create a scenario in your life where you're actually living on 80% of your income? So you're reducing your taxes. So you're only paying 10% or less in taxes. Now, again, if you know what you're doing, is that possible? Absolutely. Knowledge is the key. Again, remember, you don't know what you don't know. And what you don't know is costing you money. You may not know how to reduce your taxes, but just because you don't know how to do that doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means you don't know what you don't know, and it's costing you money. So if you know what you're doing, it's absolutely possible. You guys already know people are doing this. So here's the thing. What if you could get the knowledge so you could reduce your taxes and pay 10% or less, and also reduce your debt and interest so you're paying 10% of your income, in, or 10% of your debt, or excuse me, so that only 10% or less of your income is going towards debt and interest. That's what I wanted to say. So you're actually living on 80% or more of your income. And even better, what if you could double, triple, or 10x your income in the process? Well, that's the scenario you want to be in, right? Every single one of you want to be over here on the right. This is where the wealthy Americans live. This is where the 1% live. I love what Albert Einstein said. He said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Okay, so let's talk about this. So we're going to talk about velocity banking, guys. This is so cool. This is a very simple strategy that basically allows you to keep more of your money by saving your money on interest and paying down your debt at an accelerated rate without paying any more money out of your pocket, right? And again, without making any more money. So let's talk about loans versus lines. Loans versus lines. Now, most people, again, we're not taught this stuff in school. So most people do not understand the difference and they think that they're the same. They are not the same. Loans and lines are very, very different financial vehicles. Okay. So let's give you an example here. Let's say that you've got a home loan and a car loan. You got a home that's $200,000 that you owe on it, 30-year term. Your payments are $1,200 a month, 6% interest. Let's say you got a car loan with a $12,000 balance, $600 a month, 6% interest. And then let's say you got a line. We'll just say in terms of a credit. Now there's different types of lines of credit. Let's talk about a credit card though. Credit cards are one type of a line of credit. Let's say that you have a $15,000 limit with a $12,000 balance. Again, $600 a month, 21% interest rate. Let's also say that your income is $5,000 a month. Now, here's what most people have been taught. Again, we don't get taught this stuff in school. Our parents weren't taught this stuff. Their parents weren't taught this stuff. So what happens is we've got an entire society of people that are completely backwards when it comes to financial literacy. Don't take that personal. Don't take that in a negative way, but it's I think we can all agree on that, right? Okay, most people are backwards when it comes to financial literacy because nobody teaches this stuff, at least in the schools. So our parents don't teach us. Their parents didn't teach them. Our teachers don't teach us. So we have to go to sources like we have right here to learn this kind of stuff. Well, here's what happens is most people take their income. What do they do with it? They put in their bank account. Then after they put in their bank account, what do? Then is they pay all their expenses, right? They make their house payment. They make their car payment, their credit card payment. They have some money for lifestyle, eating out, going to the movies, enjoying life a little bit. And then if they're lucky, okay, the smart ones, well, you'd think, right, are putting $1,400 into savings. Now, that's what most people think is the way you should do it. That's the way we've been taught. That's the way you do it. So you got $5,000 that goes in, and after all said and done, $5,000 goes out, and you have zero monthly cash flow. Now, what if we could change this and pay off your loans and your debts in a fraction of the time without making any more money? How would you guys like that? So send me a message in the chat. What would you guys think if you could pay off your home, car, student loans, all your debts, instead of 20 or 30 years, pay them off in 5 to 10 years or less on your current income? Would that be pretty cool? Would you guys love that? Okay. So let's talk about loans versus lines. Now, when it comes to loans, talking about like personal loans or home loans or car loans, any loans, what you have to understand is they're a very different animal than lines. Loans, for example, usually, well, for one thing, there's a lot more involved to getting approved. There's a lot more work and process to getting approved. You have to prove your income. There's more documentation involved. And if you do get approved, they're going to give you basically some money for whether it's a home, a car, or they may give you a personal loan or signature loan, and you can use that money for whatever you need to, or a business loan. The problem is, number one, getting approved is a lot longer, more tedious, more difficult process. You got to prove your income, okay? And then as you start making payments on that, let's say that you get a $10,000 loan. a personal loan, no collateral, just a personal loan. And let's say that you're making payments on that. As you're making payments on that, okay, does that open up more money that you can continue to use that loan? Absolutely not. What happens is you keep making payments, okay, you don't have any more money you can use. In other words, you get money up front and it's one time and that's it. So the money you keep making on that loan is tied up in that loan, and you can't use that money ever again unless you get another loan at some point down the road. Also, it's amortized. It's front-loaded interest. We're going to talk about this. So basically, when you're making payments on that loan, 80–90% of your payment on the front end is going towards interest. And this is where banks get you. This is how banks make so much money. They love loans. They love loans because they make a ton of money off of them. Because most of your payment, 80–90% on the front end, is going towards interest and very little towards principal. Now, over time, okay, that gradually switches. And about 2/3 of the way through the loan, okay, it crisscrosses. And then most of your payment is going towards principal and less towards interest. But it takes about, on average, 2/3 of the loan. Now, most lines are much easier to get. Okay, you can state your income. You don't have to prove your income. Okay, now again, it depends. There's exceptions, but when it comes to, for example, credit cards, every one of you or most of you have got credit cards, and you're able to get those without proving your income. You just state your income, right? Okay, so it's easy to get approved. Usually you can get approved within, a few seconds or a few minutes. You go online, you do an application, and within a few minutes, you have an approval right there. Whereas a loan, it could take days or weeks, just depend on the type of loan or who you're working with. But with a line, it's also a revolving account. So in other words, as you keep making payments, let's say that you have a $10,000 line of credit and you use $10,000, but you start making payments on that. Well, as you make payments on that, does that open up your line of credit? Of course it does, right? So you can keep using that as a revolving line of credit. It's not a one-time fund and then your money secured from that point forward. It's also simple interest calculated daily. We're going to talk about this also as well, okay? And you can use it to pay your bills like a checking account. Almost every single one of my bills are paid with my credit cards. I think I have one or two. They don't allow credit cards, so I have to use my bank account. But pretty much everything goes through my credit cards. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. Which one is more? Which is more, 6% or 21%? What do you guys think? Give me some feedback. 6% or 21%? It's not a trick question. Which one's more? Obviously, it's 21%, right? Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Which is hotter, 1 degree or 32 degrees? 1 degree or 32 degrees? So the correct answer, guys, the correct answer, there you go. All right. A couple of you finally got it. Okay, Christian, Bruce, good job. It depends. The correct answer is it depends. Okay, 6%, 21%, well, it depends. 6% what? 20% what? What is it? Same thing with 1 degree versus 32 degrees. For example, okay, 1 degree, 32 degrees. It depends. Is it Celsius or Fahrenheit? Because actually 1 degree Celsius is actually hotter than 32 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 degree Celsius is actually 33.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So at face value, you'd think, oh, 32 degrees is hotter or 20% is more. The correct answer is it depends. Okay, you have to get more information. All right, so let me give you an example. Hey, let's talk about this. Okay, let's say, again, you have a loan, and let's just say this is a home loan, and your payment's $1,200 a month. Now, again, like we talked about before, it's front-loaded interest. It's an amortized loan. So 80–90% of your payment on the front end is going towards interest, and only about 10–20% is going towards principal. So what happens over time is you're making payments, right? Payment after payment, month after month. Now, at the end of that term, if you go the full 30 years, 360 payments, okay, what are you going to end up paying? All right, but here's the thing. Now, one of the big mistakes that people make is refinancing. Most people, it's amazing to me how many people I talk to that refinance within their first 4 to 5 years. In fact, most people on their home loan refinance within 5 years. And do you guys ever notice how banks are always pushing, like lenders are always pushing to refinance, and they offer some great incentives. Come refinance at this introductory rate or whatever. Okay, so they're always pushing, encourage you to refinance. Listen, banks are not, most of the time, are not looking out for your best interest. They're there to make money. Do you guys know that? You ever thought about like this? When you put your money in the bank, do you guys know what you're actually doing? You're out there working day in, day out, every week, every month, every year, you're working to pay the banks. Because you put your money in the bank, and what does the bank do? They give you a measly interest rate that's not worth anything. They take your money through arbitrage. They use your money to lend out, and they make 5, 10, 15, 20% interest, depending on the loan product or the financial vehicle, but they are making money off your money. So you're basically working hard to pay the bank so that they can use your money and make money off of your money. They're basically making money off of your hard work. You guys ever thought about that? I had this epiphany the other day, and it just, like, this light bulb went off, like, holy cow, that's what people are doing. Guys, most banks are not out there for your best interest. They're there to make money. And so when they're always pushing and encourage people to refinance, this is why. It's a huge mistake, guys. I mean, you have to have some really good reasons to refinance, because for most people, it is not worth it. If you're 5 years into your term, even 3 or 4 years, what's happening, just like this chart is showing you, every payment that you're making, okay, less percentage is going towards interest and more percentage is going towards principal. So right in this first 5 years, if you refinance, guess what you just did? All that progress that you were making on paying down your loan, and again, paying more towards principal, all that progress has been all for naught, because now you just started the whole process over again, day one, when you refinance. Guys, do not refinance unless you know without a doubt it makes perfect sense, because most of the time, it does not make sense to do it. So let's say, for example, let's say you go 4 years and you're making $1,200 a month payments. Well, if you figure, okay, again, 6% loan, you figure how much that's going towards interest and how much is going towards principal. Those 4 years, 48 payments, okay, $45,000 has gone towards interest in 4 years. You paid $45,000 in interest, only $12,000 towards principal. 4 years. And that's how much you paid in interest. Now, if you go the full term, you guys already know this, right? If you go the full term and you wait 30 years to pay it off, all said and done, if it's a 6% loan, then you pay off the principal, $200,000, your interest would be $232,000, which basically you paid twice as much money for your home. Now, it used to be like in the 80s, because interest rates were much higher than that. I mean, there were people that if they went the full term, because the interest rate, you would basically pay 3 times or 4 times the original value of your home, because the interest rates are so high. But basically, you end up paying 2 to 3 times more for your home if you go the full term. Now, let's do something that most people don't have a clue about, because again, it's not taught in schools. Our parents don't teach us. They didn't learn it. So most people don't know this. Let's use lines to pay off the loans. Now, some of you may think this is totally crazy, right? I mean, how many think that'd be totally crazy to use like a credit card? And again, there's other lines of credit. We'll just use a credit card in this example. But most of you probably think it'd be totally crazy to use a line to pay off a loan. Well, stick with me here. Let me show you. So let's do something a little bit different. Rather than taking our $5,000 and putting it in our bank account, paying our expenses, and then having no money left over at the end of the month, let's change the flow of money. Guys, paying off your debts faster is not about making more money. That's the knee-jerk reaction. That's the first response, right? Well, to do that, I got to make more money. That's the logical side of our brain. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, making more money can definitely help big time, but you don't have to make more money to pay off your debts faster. All you have to do is change the flow of your money. That's right. Change the flow of your money, and you can pay off your debts faster on your current income. How cool is that? So let's say that you take your income, rather than put in your bank account, you put all that money on your credit card. Now, again, this, for some of you, this is going to be a really hard concept to adapt, but just bear with me, stick with me, because remember, you don't know what you don't know, and what you don't know is costing you money. See, if you want to be like the wealthy and successful, you have to start thinking and acting and doing the same things. So you have to step outside your comfort zone and do things you've never done before. Start thinking differently. So let's take all that money, put it on our credit cards. Now, what do we do there? Now, what you did, first of all, is we eliminated our payment, right? Because if you put your money in your bank account, then you still have to make a credit card payment. But if you put all your income on your credit card, then that automatically covers your payment every 2 weeks or every month, right? Every month that covers your credit card payment. So now we've eliminated $600 a month. Now, savings. If most people aren't saving money, but if you were saving money, listen, what are you saving it for? Most people, if they're saving money, they have in the bank account and you're not earning any interest. Your interest is probably like 0.01 or 0.001. And listen, if it starts with a point, it's pointless, right? You're not making any money. Okay, putting the money under your mattress, in your bedroom, whatever, that's not making you any money. So rather than saving your money, because again, because of inflation, okay, your money is, the dollar's getting eaten alive. So rather than saving money, why not use that money to pay off your debts faster and eliminate your debts and create more cash flow? So now what we're going to do is we're going to put that on our credit card instead of saving that money. So now we've eliminated $1,400 a month. And so we got $3,000 that went in, $5,000 went on our card. We have $3,000 in expenses left over. So because we eliminate our credit card payment and we're not saving that money, we're putting it towards paying off our debts, we've actually created $2,000 a month in cash flow. $2,000 a month in cash flow with the same income, all by changing the flow of money. Guys, this is so cool. You created $2,000 extra a month on your current income, all by changing the flow of your money. Now, here's what we're going to do. Month one, we start out with a $12,000 balance. Our monthly income, $5,000. Our expenses, $3,000. Okay, so which means we have $2,000 cash flow. So now our new balance becomes $10,000. Our balance is reduced by $2,000 because that cash flow. Month two, same thing's going to happen. $5,000 under our line of credit, $3,000 expenses. Okay, $2,000 cash flow brings it down $2,000. Month three, $2,000 again. Month four, month five, 6 months, you paid off your credit card. So if you start out with a $12,000 balance on your credit card, okay, you paid it off within 6 months, not by making more money, but by changing the flow of money, all because you're able to create $2,000 more monthly income, more cash flow. Guys, knowledge is the key. You don't know what you don't know. Okay, now, what if we took $12,000 on that credit card and we use that to make our house payment? Now, again, you guys may think this is totally crazy and saying like, I'd never do that in a million years, right? That might be some of the things you're thinking. Again, you don't know what you don't know and it's costing you money, but just bear with me. So we put $12,000, we use $12,000 from our credit card, make our house payment, and we're going to use that excess to go towards the principal. So now we have $12,000 back on our credit card, okay, because we put that towards the principal of our house to pay down our house quicker. We're going to do the same thing. Again, remember, we have $5,000 income going in, $3,000 expenses. That's all staying the same, right? And our new balance is $10,000. Month after month, same exact thing as before, okay? We, again, paid off our credit card within 6 months. But now we basically used it to pay $12,000 down on our home, pay $12,000 in principal on our home. Guys, this is where it gets really cool. Now, what did it cost us? What did it cost us? If you did, let's say that you stuck with the traditional method, like you just can't wrap your mind around this, so you're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. My parents did it. My grandparents did it. And so I'm going to keep doing the same thing. It reminds me, you guys ever heard the story about the ham? So it's Thanksgiving dinner, and mother and daughter were in the kitchen and cooking, and the mom is cutting the ends off the ham. And the daughter just was really inquisitive and curious. And she said, "Mom, I noticed you've always cut the ends off the ham. Why do you cut the ends off the ham? I'm just curious. I've seen you do it over the years, but I've never asked why." And her mom said, "You know what? I've never really thought about it. My mom always did it. And so I just figured, well, that's the way I always do it, because my mom always did it. Like, you know what? Let's call mom. Let's call my mom and see why she always cut the ends off the ham, because that's what she always did." So they called up her mom and the daughter's grandma and said, "Hey, quick question. Why did you always cut the ends off the ham every Thanksgiving, every Christmas?" And grandma's like, "You know what? I don't know. My mom always did it. That's what she always did. So I just did what she did because that's how she always did it." So they called up her mom, great grandma. Said, "Great grandma, we have a question. We're stumped here. We cannot figure this out. I've always cut the ends off the ham, and my mom's always cut the ends off the ham. Why did you always cut the ends off the ham?" And great grandma says, "Well, it's simple. Because when we were first married, we didn't have a lot of money, and the pan that we put the ham in was too small. And so I just always cut the ends off the ham so it'd fit in the pan." So guys, how many beliefs do you have that are false? You've adopted beliefs from your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, from your teachers, from society, from politicians, from the government, because you've never stopped to question them. You never stopped to ask yourself, why am I doing it this way? Does it even make sense anymore? It may have made sense years ago. It may have made sense for my parents or grandparents, but does it actually make sense today? Am I doing it just because that's the way it's always been done? Everybody else does it. Everybody else in America does it this way. People I go to church with, my neighbors, they all do it that way. So I'm just going to keep doing what they do. Or do you sit back and question it and ask yourself, does it make sense to do it? Am I cutting the ends off the ham because everybody else is doing it that way? Guys, there's a lot of things that you're doing that do not make sense, and you don't even know why. You don't even know why you're doing it. So going back to our example here, right? If you just stayed with the traditional method, like most people, parents, grandparents, everybody else, and you just keep making your monthly payments like a good man, good woman, and just keep doing it, here's what happens. 6% with an amortized loan, front-loaded interest, you'd pay $45,000 in interest and to pay down $12,000. So in other words, to pay down $12,000 in principal on your home, it would cost you $45,000 in interest if you just stuck with the traditional method of making your monthly payments. Or you can use our strategy that we've taught for years, and we've helped a lot of people pay off their homes in a fraction of time, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, a lot of people on their current income. What did it cost us to do that? With the 20, remember we asked before, what costs more, 6% or 21%? Most of you at face value would never think to use a credit card with 21% interest to pay down a 6% loan. What you don't realize, again, is a 6% front-loaded amortized loan actually costs you more money than a line of credit with 21% simple interest, because they're different types of interest. It's not the same interest. It's like Celsius versus Fahrenheit. Okay, this is simple interest. This is front-loaded interest. Even though it seems more at face value, it's different. You actually end up paying less over here with 20% on a line of credit in most situations. There's exceptions, but in most situations. See, look at this. To use a line of credit to pay down our principal by $12,000, it took us 6 months instead of 4 years. The old method, it took 4 years and $45,000 in interest. Okay, using velocity banking, we did it in 6 months and only cost us $1,260 in interest. So what makes more sense? That is doing the same thing everybody else is doing just because that's the way it's always been done, or learning how to do it the right way, learning what wealthy people know. This is what wealthy people do. This is creative financial strategies. Now, if we take this a step further, so if you did that every 6 months, you paid down your home $12,000 every 6 months. That means every year you pay down your home by what? $24,000, right? So you take that $200,000 home, year one, okay? You paid it down to $176,000. Year two, $152,000. So every year you're paying down your home by $24,000. And this is all on your current income. Your income isn't going up. $5,000 a month in income. None of that stuff changes. All you did was change the flow of money, and you're using lines to pay off your loans. Okay. And you keep repeating this process until your home is paid off. Now, does this require discipline? Absolutely. Does becoming wealthy require discipline? Absolutely. Does success require discipline? Absolutely. If you want to change your life and create a life you desire for you and your family, is that going to require some discipline? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely, 100%. So yes, it does take discipline, but that's what is required to have the life you want. So you keep repeating this process until your home is paid off. Now, the cool thing is this works for all of your debts. You can pay off your home. You can pay off your cars. You can pay off your medical debts. You can pay off your student loans. You can pay off your credit cards, all of this. You can pay off all your debts using Velocity Banking and do it in a fraction of time. And again, if you want to speed it up, then obviously if you make even more money, then you can do all this even faster. You can accelerate the process. Now, guys, this is a very basic understanding of Velocity Banking. Our Velocity Banking class is several hours, and we have an advanced Velocity Banking class. So we have a basic and an advanced. So guys, this is just a very, like a 30,000 foot view of Velocity Banking. Just to kind of like a trailer to a movie. Because when you go into our Velocity Banking class, I'm telling you, when you learn this stuff, you're not going to sleep for a week. You're going to be so excited because you don't know what you don't know. And when you learn this stuff, it's going to blow your mind. Roy and Debbie Rice, okay, they use Velocity Banking, paid off student loan and truck within 17 months. And we're able, right out of the gate, we're able to free up $2,100 a month just using Velocity Banking. Okay, Richard and Jenny, okay, they basically within 6 months wiped out $36,000 in student loans and credit card debt, all using Velocity Banking, exactly what we're talking about here today. So what are some benefits using lines instead of loans? You keep more of your money, right? Instead of giving it to the bank, you pay down your debts faster, right? You pay less interest, right? Guys, the banks do not need more of your money. You need to become your own bank. And that's what we teach you, is how to become your own bank. It also helps you have better credit utilization, which improves your credit score, right? So you can have a better credit rating, right? Create monthly cash flow, create financial security, more money to invest in real estate. And of course, you're going to be able to build your wealth faster, because the faster you can pay off your debts and free up more cash flow, you're going to be able to invest and build your wealth even faster so that your money can work for you and you can grow your money, which again equates to time freedom and financial freedom. So guys, 3 secrets to this. Doing the same thing that most people are doing will make you broke. Stop cutting the ends off the ham just because that's the way it's always been done. Ask yourself, does it make sense to do it this way anymore? And I guarantee you, there's a lot of things in your life that you're doing that do not make sense. And you haven't questioned it, okay? One of my mentors a long time ago told me, he says, if you learn what most people are doing and do the opposite, you'll be wealthy. And you know what? He's right. Do the opposite of what most people do, and you become wealthy. Number 2, assuming all debt is the same is a huge mistake. You guys have probably heard this over and over again. Okay, not all debt is equal. There's bad debt and good debt. Bad debt costs you money, good debt makes you money. Right? So if you've always been taught that all debt is bad, no debt, no debt, no debt, because that is a broke mentality. I had that at one time, so I'm not pointing fingers. That's a broke mentality. See, wealthy people use debt as a tool to build wealth. Wealthy people have debt, but there's good debt and bad debt. So yes, bad debt is bad because it costs you. Like like boats or toys or things that don't make you money. They cost you money. But good debt, like real estate, makes you money. Number 3, guys, you can make all the money you want, but if you don't learn how to keep it, you're going to be broke at a higher level. You'd be amazed how many doctors make $40,000, $50,000 a month and are paycheck to paycheck. Literally, they're broke at a higher level because they make all this money. They don't know how to keep it. Again, professional athletes, over 70% of professional athletes end up broke or bankrupt because they don't know how to keep their money. They don't have the financial literacy. All right, number 3. Okay, give me a few more minutes here. We're running a little bit long, but number 3 is we're going to talk about growing your money. All right, growing your money. So this, again, we're going to take what we just taught, and now let's use it to grow our wealth. So the reason most people will never be able to retire and how you can 10x your wealth and monthly cash flow without using any of your own money. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about accumulation strategy versus cash flow strategy. Now, here's what most people do. Again, because they've never questioned it. This is what their parents, grandparents is. So you work hard, you save your money, you work hard, you save your money, you work hard, you save your money, and then someday you retire, right? You retire. That's a great, great day. And then when you retire, what do? All that money you saved up, you start spending it, and you spend it, and you spend it, and you spend it, and you spend it. And little by little, you deplete your retirement. That's how most people live. They work really hard for 30, 40 years, build up this retirement so that they can finish out their life and live off that retirement. Well, what happens, most retired people I talk to are in scarcity and lack during retirement. They have a lack mindset, a scarcity mindset, because they don't travel. They don't want to spend money. They're very conservative because they don't want to run out of money. Because a lot of times people outlive their retirement. They didn't plan for the long run. So they end up having to go back to work if they run out of money. So a lot of retired people are scared because they don't want to run out of money. Because every month that you take a draw, you're taking income out of your retirement, your income little by little is going down and down and down. That's the accumulation strategy. Work hard to build it up, and then little by little, you deplete it. Guys, does that make any sense? Work really hard for 30, 40 years just so you can be scared and have this lack mentality and not be able to do what you want during retirement. But that's how most retired people live. Broke people use accumulation strategy, and it does not work. It keeps them broke and deprives them of any time freedom and financial freedom. Now let's talk about a cash flow strategy. Rather than saving money, okay, let's take our money and let's use real estate to build wealth. Let's put that money into real estate and let's use a cash flow strategy instead, because that's going to give you a much greater return on your investment. Like I said, most people saving money, even if they put it into a traditional retirement account, they're not getting that much interest. They're not making that much money, not compared to real estate. See, wealthy people use the cash flow strategy because it works. It allows them to become wealthy and live the lifestyle of their dreams with time freedom and financial freedom. Now, to understand this, we have to understand liabilities and assets. Okay, liabilities cost you money. Assets make you money. Guys, if you're going to be wealthy, you have to understand liabilities versus assets. Most people, again, here's what people do. The poor and middle class, okay, work really hard to acquire liabilities. Wealthy people, okay, work hard to acquire assets. Remember that. Poor and middle class work hard to acquire liabilities, to buy liabilities. Wealthy people work hard to acquire assets. So let's say now that we paid off our home using Velocity Banking, we paid off our home in our previous example. And now let's say that we have a HELOC for $200,000. We open up a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. You guys, I'm sure most of you heard of this. Now let's take that $200,000 HELOC. Now, if you have a home that's valued at $200,000, you're not going to get a $200,000 HELOC because most lenders only do about 80 to 90% of the value or of the equity for a HELOC. So let's just assume that your home is worth a little bit more than 200,000, right? Maybe let's say 250,000. And let's say that you get a $200,000 HELOC on a home that's paid off and is valued at 250,000. Just to, again, keep this simple. I like things simple. Let's say that you go out there and you buy 10 homes. Now, if you have good enough credit, now let's say the average home out there is $200,000. And if you have good enough credit, you can get 20% down, or 10% down. A lot of lenders will do 10% if you have really good credit. Let's just say, for the sake of an example, let's say that you're able to do 10% down and you pick up 10 homes. 10 homes, 10% down. So you use $200,000 HELOC, which is also a line of credit, just like a credit card. You're just basically using the equity in your home like a credit card. You don't pay on it unless you use it, right? And it's a revolving line of credit, just like a credit card. So we take that $200,000 HELOC, we use it to buy 10 rentals, put a $20,000 down payment on 10 rentals. So we bought 10 rentals. Again, leverage. We didn't have to have $200,000 to buy each rental, just a small down payment. The bank will finance most of it. So again, we're going to do velocity banking, okay? And we're going to use the same example we talked about before to pay off these rentals even faster. Now, again, we have all of our debts paid off up to this point. And so now we got $3,800 in monthly cash flow because we paid off our home, we paid off our car, we paid off our credit card. And so now we've got no monthly payments. We have $1,200 a month for lifestyle. Same income. Now, obviously, your income is going to go up over time. We're just keeping this simple, guys. Same income, $5,000 a month. We have $1,200 a month for lifestyle to, go out there and play, do it, enjoy a few things. Our monthly cash flow is $3,800 a month. Guys, this is really cool. This gets amazing. All right, so 10 rentals. Let's say that you're getting $400 a month in cash flow. Most team members, most individuals I talk to will not purchase a cash flowing rental property unless it's able to cash flow at least $400 a month. And that's usually a bare minimum. That's usually what we recommend. Now, everybody's different. It's your decision. That's usually what we recommend. So let's say that your requirement is $400 a month cash flow in order for you to even consider a rental property. You have 10 rentals, $400 a month. You have $4,000 a month in cash flow. Again, this is after all your expenses, including taxes, insurance. Again, each one of these are going to have a mortgage on them. So after all taxes, insurance, property management, repairs, all these different things, all your expenses, your net cash flow, $400 per unit. Now, if you take your cash flow from your monthly income, your cash flow from your 10 rentals, what that ends up being is now you have $7,800 in total monthly cash flow. Okay, almost $8,000. What are you going to do? Well, let me ask you guys this. How many of you think if you had 10 properties, 10 homes like this, single family homes that were paid off, free and clear, pure cash flow, save it, were like some expense, you're still going to have taxes, insurance, repairs, right? But not including taxes, insurance, repairs, everything else is pure cash flow, no mortgage because they're paid off. How many think if you had 10 properties, single family homes paid off, that you'd be pretty set, that you could have a pretty comfortable lifestyle? You may not be, a gazillionaire, but you'd be pretty comfortable. How many feel like that would be perfectly fine? Okay. All right. Most people we talk to, if they had 10 properties like this, they'd be set. And most people would. So we're going to work on paying each one of these off. We're going to use our HELOC. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to use velocity banking at the same time. So now let me go back here real quick. We're going to use velocity banking to pay off that $200,000 HELOC. Now do the math on this. Okay. If you actually took that cash flow, just like we talked about before, and now you basically channeled or flowed your money through your HELOC, all your income goes in there. You take your expenses out and then use your cash flow to pay down your HELOC. It would take you less than 3 years. It's about 29 to 30 months, less than 3 years, you would pay off your HELOC. That $200,000 HELOC that you used all that money to buy these 10 homes, you could have that paid off in less than 3 years, about 29, 30 months, just by keeping the same income, right? Now, keep in mind, your HELOC's going to have a payment on it too. So you got to factor that in. So here's what we're going to do. Now we pay that off, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn around. We're going to take that HELOC. Once our HELOC, our $200,000 HELOC is paid off, what are you going to do with that? We're going to turn around and use that to pay off rental property number one, that $200,000 home. All right, guys, this is a very simple example. Like I said, we normally spend hours and hours teaching this stuff. So this is a 30,000 foot view. We're going to basically take that $200,000 HELOC. We're going to turn around and pay off that first rental property. Now you have one rental property paid off. Our monthly cash flow is $3,800 from our income. Okay. Our cash flow from our 9 rental properties that we still have financing on is $3,600. But now let's say that our cash flow from rental property number 1 is $1,000. Because again, the only expenses we have are repairs, taxes, insurance, okay, property management. But other than that, there's no financing. So let's say we're cash flowing $1,000 a month on that first rental property we just paid off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that cash flow. What are you going to do with that cash flow? We're going to go pay off our HELOC again. We're going to pay off our HELOC again. Now, are we going to be able to pay off our HELOC even faster than we were before? Now that we have more cash flow? Absolutely. So now we're going to pay that off probably in a couple of years. It's going to take about 2 years to pay off that HELOC because you have more cash flow. What are you going to do again? Same exact thing. Okay. Okay. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. So we're going to take property number 2. We're going to use our HELOC. We're going to pay off property number 2 so we can increase our cash flow. Again, our monthly cash flow from our income is $3,800. Our monthly cash flow from our 8 rental properties is $3,200. Now we have 2 rental properties that are cash flowing $1,000 each, $2,000. So now our total monthly cash flow is up to $9,000. It keeps going up by $600 a month because again, our cash flow is $400 and then we paid it off. And so now we have $600 difference. So now our cash flow is going up $600 every time we pay off a property. We take that $9,000. What do? We pay off our HELOC again. And now we're going to be able to pay it off even faster because we got more cash flow to work with. So now we pay off that HELOC. So now we're completely debt-free again. What do? What do you guys think? What are we going to do? You guessed it. We're going to take that HELOC. We're going to pay off property number 3. We're going to do the same exact thing. Monthly cash flow, $3,800. 7 rentals, $2,800. Three paid off rentals, $3,000. Our total monthly cash flow, $9,600 a month. Guys, you get the picture. We pay off our HELOC, pay off our next home, pay off our HELOC, pay off our next home, pay off our HELOC, pay off our next home. We keep doing this over and over and over and over and over and over again until you have 10 properties paid off, free and clear. Now, again, this is very simple. Your monthly income is going to go up over time, obviously. And so the rents are going to go up over time, which means your cash flow from your properties is going to go up. Okay, so there's some other factors. Yes, I know that. We're just keeping it very simple. We're just trying to help you guys understand the core principle here. That's all we're trying to do tonight. We're gonna go further in depth in our classes and really dig deep and help you understand all the intricacies and all the factors. The most important thing is the principle right now. But now you have 10 properties paid off. So now your net worth is much greater, right? You're debt-free. And most importantly, what's even better than net worth is great, but cash flow is king. Cash flow is most important, right? Grant Cardone's taught that for years. So now we have $10,000 a month in cash flow from our 10 rental properties, including our monthly income. Our total monthly cash flow, $13,000 a month. And guys, if you did this within years, within the same amount of time, let me put it to you this way. Within the same amount of time that the average person is paying off their home, 30 years, in less time, if you did exactly what we talked about here tonight, in less time, you would actually not only pay off your home and all your other debts, but you would have 10 rental properties paid off as well. So would you rather within 30 years, would you rather have just your home paid off? Or within 30 years, would you rather have your home, all your debts, student loans, cars, everything paid off, and have 10 rental properties that you own free and clear? Which sounds better? Guys, it's an obvious answer, right? It's all about changing your thinking. It's all about getting knowledge, because you don't know what you don't know and it's costing you money. You have to, if you want to be wealthy, you have to start thinking and acting like wealthy people. Guys, so now look at this. Everything's paid off. You have assets. And you have assets that you can leave to your children, your grandchildren. You can leave a legacy. And those assets are going to appreciate over time. They're going to continue to grow. And you're going to leave wealth for your posterity. Guys, how cool is that? And most importantly, what you learned, you're going to teach them so that they can continue that trend and do the same thing to take the legacy that you built and left for them and keep building upon it, keep building upon it, and keep building that legacy for future generations. So guys, 3 secrets to growing more money. The accumulation strategy does not work. The cash flow strategy is how wealthy people create time freedom and financial freedom. Number 2, broke people acquire liabilities, not assets. Wealthy people acquire assets first, and they use that to pay for their liabilities, right? Number 3, using other people's money and credit is the best way to rapidly grow your money and create massive cash flow that pays you every month, whether you're working or not. And guys, that's another factor in here. Right here, we've been talking about using your own money, your own credit. So this example is all around using your own money, your own credit. What if you could actually do this and make more money over time, okay, which is going to happen. Okay, what if you could double, triple, or 10x your income and do everything I just showed you here tonight and do it even faster? And another caveat is, what if you could do all of this without your own credit, without your own money? Guys, that's even better. So there's so much more. There's so much more. Again, you don't know what you don't know, and it's costing you money. Man, I tell people all the time, okay, you don't know what you don't know, and because of that, you're paying too much in taxes. You're paying too much in debt and interest, and you're not building wealth and making the kind of money you could be making because you don't know what you don't know. And you guys, every one of you have the potential to make a lot more money you're making right now. Guys, it's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. Again, we just scratch the surface. And this is something that we share from time to time and so forth. But I thought this would be a great presentation to share with you guys, since Chris couldn't be here tonight. And some of you may have already known about some of this stuff, but hopefully I shared at least one thing with you guys tonight that was like that aha moment, that light bulb, or at least got the creative juices flowing and maybe gave you some ideas or sparked some ideas that helped you in other areas. But guys, again, just knowledge is the key. If you know what you're doing, you can make money and build wealth in any market. So guys, if you love what we showed you here today, like I said, there's so many more ways we can help you. This is just scratching the surface. Now, again, just a reminder, next Wednesday, April 26th, Chris Wilson, he will be here. If I have to fly to Arizona and sit with him, all right, he's a very busy guy. He is super, super busy. So I'm not disrespecting the guy. He's amazing. Love the guy. But he's absolutely promised everything short of a blood oath that he's going to be here with us next Wednesday. So again, it'll be on Zoom, just like tonight. It'll be a webinar. So just from the comfort of your home, right there in front of your computer. But make sure you guys are here next week, because I can promise you guys, he will give you some major aha moments. He will blow your mind. This guy, I've heard, and I'm gonna get the actual intel on this, so don't quote me on this, but I've heard that he's done over 3,000 deals, is what I've heard. He's been doing real estate for over 30 years, so that's very doable. But anyway, we're gonna get some actual stats and numbers and share those with you guys, because he is a big deal and he will blow your mind. All right, guys, that's it as far as our presentation, but I do want to go into our questions here real quick. I know we're a little bit long here, and it's actually been a minute since I've given this presentation, so I couldn't quite recall how long it's going to take, but nonetheless, you know what, guys, we're just going to go into our comments and our chat and go through our questions real quick. And I may not have time for all of our questions because I've got to get going here. I've been traveling for the past couple of days, and I've had a packed schedule. So I'll try to get to all your questions, but we may not get to all of them tonight. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and check the chat here real quick and see what kind of questions you guys have. Let's see here. Linda, so why is it bad to refinance? Let's see. if you, for example, reduce the time of the loan from 30 years to 15 years and the interest rate is lower. It's not always bad to refinance, Lynn. That's a great question. It's not always bad to refinance. Remember, there's exceptions to just about every rule out there. So I'm not saying it's always bad to refinance. As I said earlier, most situations, most of the time, it's not a good idea for most people. But you have to sit down and do the math. And again, this is where knowledge comes in. You have to get educated and learn the math and understand this to know if it actually makes sense. Because let's face it, most people that refinance, they don't know this stuff. I didn't know this stuff. Before I learned this, I refinanced. So I don't blame anybody that does it because we're not taught this stuff. That's why education is so important, so that you can sit down and you can actually run the numbers and not just rely on the banker, on what he tells you. Because there's some great bankers out there, but most of the time they're not looking out for your best interest. They're there to make a profit. And so some situations, it may make sense to refinance. There's different factors involved. So you have to look at all the factors and just get educated. So great question, Linda. Thank you for asking that. Carly, you like that? If it starts with a point, it's pointless. I'd love to take credit for that, but I learned that from my mentors. So, all right, let's see here. Yeah, so Gideon, oftentimes when you use a credit card or line of credit, there's transaction fees when you use payments. Most companies, most businesses will eat those transaction fees on their end. Yes, there are some that if you use a credit card that you pay like a 3% fee, they charge you an extra 3% fee, but most of them don't do that, but some do. So again, you just have to get educated and see if it makes sense. But even with that, in my opinion, yes, it still makes sense to use a credit card or a line of credit and funnel everything through there, even if you're paying 3% on one or two utility bills. Usually it's like utility companies or small businesses that do that. Like I said, 90% of them don't do that. So in my opinion, yes, it's still worth it. And yes, you still definitely come out more positive. But again, you have to get educated so you know this stuff. So you're not just relying on me or somebody else. You can make your own educated decision on that stuff. So great question, Gideon. Thank you for asking. Danielle, what about all the accrued interest at 21%? Okay, another great question. Well, again, remember, like we talked about, there's different types of interest, just like there's different types of debt, good debt, bad debt. So on a loan, a 6% loan is amortized front-loaded interest. And a credit card is, for example, in this example, now a credit card could be 15%, 20%, 25%, but in our example, it's 21%. But it's simple interest. It's calculated daily. So as you're paying that down, okay, you're paying less interest. On a loan, it's fixed. So that interest is fixed over time. Now, yes, if you pay it off early, you can pay less, absolutely. But in most situations, again, there's exceptions, but in most situations, if you pay that credit card off, even at 21% interest, you're going to pay less interest than a 6% loan. So again, it comes down to how fast you pay it off. Okay, so if that's paid off quicker, it doesn't accrue as long. So you're paying off the interest and you're paying less interest. So yes, even at that, in our example, with our example, Danielle, you're still going to pay less money. Go back to that slide I showed you guys before. Okay, if I go back here real quick, I'll speed up. It's right here. Because again, taking 4 years for just paying off your loan, your mortgage, to pay down your principal by $12,000, you're going to pay $45,000 in interest, the traditional way, versus line of credit, even at 21% interest. Okay, you pay it off in 6 months, you only paid $1,200 in interest. So again, do the math. I mean, think about what makes more sense. Pay off that $12,000 in 6 months and pay $1,200 in interest, or pay $12,000 over 4 years and pay $45,000 in interest, right? Not to mention, this other $45,000 went towards interest you could use to pay off your home even faster, again, through your line of credit. So great question, Danielle. And you probably asked that question before you got to this point. So if you, because you asked that question back at 8 o'clock, about almost 30 minutes ago. So if that was the case, then, I probably already answered that for you. So anyway, okay, let's see here. What's the best credit card for that strategy? That's, if you can get a credit card with 0% interest, I wouldn't say that there's one credit card company that's best for that. Trying to fast forward back through my slides here, guys, bear with me. But anyway, I wouldn't say if there's one credit card company that's best. I mean, I love Discover. I love Capital One. I love them all for different reasons, American Express. But the only additional thing I'd tell you is if you can get a credit card with 0% interest, then obviously that's even better. And the thing is one of the things we teach you, this is more advanced stuff. We can teach you how to get credit cards with 0% interest for 12 to 21 months. So that makes this even better. But also, you can go back to those same credit card companies at the end of 12, 21 months, and you can renegotiate and a lot of times keep that 0% interest. Or you can get another credit card at 0% interest and basically take everything we showed you right here and start using another credit card at 0% interest. So that's what I expand on as far as if you want a better, not so much a better credit card, but an even better method or next level method, that would be it right there. So good question, Taylor. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. What difference does it make? Well, the difference, Gideon, what difference would it make to use the 6% interest loan and pay that off in 6 months, just like line of credit? Because you couldn't use a loan the same way you can a line of credit. It's not a revolving line of credit. So you can't basically funnel your money through there, for one thing. But the other thing is too, because it's fixed, you'd have to pay a lot more money to be able to get to 12, in our example, to get down to $12,000 principal, you'd have to pay a lot more money on that loan to get it down to $12,000 within that same amount of time. Okay. A loan is still going to be the better of the two. It's still going to cost you less money, and it's going to be a faster, easier, less expensive solution. So good question. HELOC, Taylor, a HELOC is considered a line. It's a home equity line of credit. So it's considered a line of credit. Good question. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, you're welcome. You guys post a lot of comments like, thank you, love this, awesome, amazing stuff. So thank you guys all for the positive feedback, all the positive comments. Again, we're here to provide value, and that's what I was hoping to do tonight, is provide as much value as I could for you guys. So thank you. Mitch, thank you, brother. Mitch is the king of Velocity Banking, man. So thank you, Mitch. Appreciate that, brother. Terry, you're welcome. Taylor, awesome. Thank you. Bruce, you guys are awesome. Appreciate your comments. You're welcome, Taylor. Appreciate that. Yes, next week, you guys will have to re-register for that webinar next week. Yes, so re-register. You can do that, or whoever invited you on here can help you with that as well. Nancy, you're welcome. Thank you. Glenn, you're my pleasure. Cole, I don't know what you meant by that, but anyway. Brian? Velocity Banking does not require a HELOC. You can use any line of credit. Great question, Brian. So, and you're welcome, brother. So glad you could make it on here. But yep, you don't have to have a HELOC to do this. You can use credit cards, or again, there's different lines of credit. There's business lines of credit too. So it doesn't require a HELOC. HELOC's just an awesome example. It's not the only one though. So good to have you on here, brother. Tristan, you're welcome, brother. Thank you. Tyler, you're welcome. Look forward to having you here next week. That's exactly it. Thank you, Mitch. Guys, So I don't know what question you're responding to, Mitch, but guys, when it comes to the interest rate, Mitch makes a great point. It has nothing to do with the interest rate. It has everything to do with the cash flow. It's all about cash flow. And so that's the main thing when you're looking at these strategies and you're making an educated decision. Cash flow, that's the most important thing. That trumps the interest rate. So it's all about the cash flow. Interest rate is really not a relevant point. We've been trained over time to focus on interest rate. And I'm not saying that's not part of the equation, but you have to focus on the cash flow because that's what matters. So Mitch, great point. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate your comment there. Gideon, you are welcome. Thank you very much. Appreciate your feedback. Taylor, thank you. Guys, appreciate all the compliments. Thank you guys so much, man. That warms my heart. So I'm glad that I was able to help you guys tonight. Let's see here. Another question. Okay. All right, just reading through these guys. How soon can you do a HELOC after buying a home? Okay, so that's gonna be, there's no one answer to that. Just like every lender is a little bit different as far as their requirements. Like you can go to some lenders and get turned down for a loan or a line of credit, and you go to other lender and get approved. They're all a little bit different. So the soonest that I've heard is 6 months after you buy a home that you can pull out a HELOC. That's the soonest that I've heard. Now, somebody else may have different experience with that, but that's the soonest that I've seen or heard. But again, it depends on the lender. Some lenders won't look at a HELOC for a year or two, but some lenders I've seen 6 months. But again, depends on credit. There's multiple factors that go into the equation, so it's not a one size fits all. So it's a kind of a tough answer there, Matt. Probably not what you're looking for, but that's, like I said, there's just multiple factors. And yeah, that's the other thing is like, getting a HELOC too soon, it all depends on how much equity you have, because if you don't, unless you got a fantastic deal and you have a lot of instant equity in that property, which again, if you know what you're doing, you can do that. But for most people, if they just bought a home, it doesn't make sense to do a HELOC because they don't have a lot of equity built in there, unless they've had some huge appreciation like a year later and real estate values skyrocket or something like that, like California or something. So that's one of those factors. It has to make sense. Let's see here. Jordan, you're welcome. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Jordan, good to have you on here, man. So Jeremiah, thank you. Appreciate that. Taylor, when can I learn more about it? So at our classes. So whoever invited you on here, talk to them and they can help you understand more about our classes and what it takes. But that's really where you'd start to learn more advanced. It's just, like I said, this is kind of like the trailer to the movie. And this gives you a good idea, but our classes is where you're really going to learn the most. So talk to whoever invited you on here and they can help you with that. Yep, absolutely. Thank you guys. Yep, Carl, great. Linda, thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see here, just a couple more real quick and then we got to wrap up. Jeremiah, who would be the best person to talk to know where to start? Whoever invited you on here. Do you know who invited you? Why don't you send me a message and let me know who invited you, and then but that'd be the person you want to talk to. So Matt, thank you, brother. Man, absolutely, man. Like-minded people, right? Good to have you on board, and glad you're loving it. So thank you, man. Appreciate that. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate that, man. Okay, I'm just scanning through one more time because I want to make sure I've taken care of you guys and just making sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see here. Okay, Sean, good question. If I have $30,000 in savings, would I put that towards my mortgage and take out a HELOC? Would I take out a HELOC and then put $30,000 in my HELOC? Well, if you get a HELOC and you put $30,000 towards that, obviously you couldn't put it towards it until you actually used your HELOC for something, which I'm assuming that's what you meant. But you probably get multiple answers on this. The answer is it depends. So I know that's a hard answer, but there's a few factors to consider here. We have to look at other factors like what are your other debts? What are your other lines of credit? And really what your goals are. So again, it really depends. It's not a one size fits all, but if we want to just take a very simple answer without looking at all these different factors, and again, keep in mind, I don't know all the other details as well, but just based on your question, if we're me, and you may talk to some other guys and they may do it different. So again, that's why I say it depends. But if I was in that situation, what I would do is I would get a HELOC rather than taking $30,000 and paying down my mortgage immediately. I would get a HELOC, okay, as soon as possible. Use that HELOC to do exactly what we talked about here, okay? So basically pay down, use your HELOC to pay down your mortgage, and then take that $30,000 to pay down your HELOC faster. That's how I would do it. That's me personally. And again, but that's why getting educated and the knowledge is so important, because when you consider other factors, you may you may come up with a different answer. But based on your question and just those couple of factors, that's what I would do. So, okay. All right, guys. Good stuff. Thank you for all the comments. Appreciate you guys. Sean, you're very welcome. And guys, again, I know I've hit this drum a million times, but just remember, you don't know what you don't know. Even if you think you already know enough, there's always a ton more to learn, right? No matter how much you know, I think we can all agree, no matter how much you know, there's always a ton more to learn. So never stop learning. Wealthy and successful people never stop learning, because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And so just make sure you always remember you don't know what you don't know. So you're always hungry for more knowledge. Knowledge and education is key. That is key. And by all means, don't get stuck in tradition just because that's the way it's always been done. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Otherwise, you'll end up like everybody else. Stop cutting the ends off the ham. But start to question things. Does it make sense to do this? Okay. And when you start doing that, you start asking the right questions. That's when opportunities and knowledge and resources are going to show up, help answer those questions and help you solutions. So anyway, guys, I've gone way over here, and I still got to do my workout. I was traveling today, and I work out every single day, and I didn't get my workout in this morning. So I got to go do my workout before I go home and hit the hay. So I got to get going here, but love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Taylor. Yeah, absolutely. Stephen. Yes, we are recording this. So there will be a recording available of this. Absolutely. So good question. All right, guys. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the comments. And thank you for hanging with me just a little bit longer here, even though we ran over on time. Make sure you're here next Wednesday. I can guarantee you, Chris will not, holy cow, I just had a brain cramp there, but he will not disappoint. There we go. Chris will not disappoint. Guarantee you guys. Be here, get your family and friends here next week. You're going to love what we're going to talk about next week with Chris Wilson. All right, guys, love you, appreciate you. Go out there, make it your best day, and we'll see you next week. Take care, guys.